The Bloomfield Township Library will soon celebrate its 55th year of service to the community. Back in 1962, the library complex of today would have only been a dream for a small group called the Citizens Library Committee. The Bloomfield Township population back then was 22,500 and showing rapid growth. The committee moved quickly. On the April 1st, 1963 ballot, there was a 10-year millage proposal that passed with strong community support. By August of 1963, the first Board of Trustees was established, and they quickly found a location for the first township library in the Devon Building basement at 4036 Telegraph Road. The rental space for the library was only 500 square feet, and Miss Rose Vainstein was the first librarian. Virginia Lee Smith was active with the Citizens Committee and describes the preparation to establish a new library.
So some of us got together and we contacted the State Library in Lansing. They were kind enough to send a consultant to us and explain how complicated it is to get a library, how a library has to be funded, and all of these things that none of us knew anything about. So we worked and had a lot of meetings, we did a lot of mailings, we needed the support of the township, we needed millage, we needed all sorts of things before we could have a library.
On October 18th, 1964, the library had a grand opening with 15,000 books. Some borrowed from the Library of Michigan. Rose greets the first patrons to the library. Rebecca Lamb became the children's librarian, and the first circulation clerk was Martha Phoebus. Virginia tells what happened at the grand opening.
The dedication, I think, was October 20th of '64, and they, it was on a Sunday afternoon, and it was October, typical fall day, and about the middle of the afternoon, the power went out, and so all these people were there, and no lights, no anything. So Rose Vainstein said, "Well, that's okay. Just everybody go home and get some candles and bring them back, and we'll continue with our ceremony." And every once in a while, I think about that, and I think about the rules and regulations that we have now, and I think, oh my goodness, the fire marshal would be stretched out somewhere if he saw anything like that happening now. But we had a wonderful time. We just lit our candles and went right on with our celebrations.
The library was open for a total of 49 hours a week. The operating budget that first year was $160,000. It was soon evident a larger facility was needed. Township residents, Mr. and Mrs. Leslie Green, were gracious enough to donate 4 acres of land for a new library site at the corner of Echo and West Long Lake Road. In March of 1965, a new group called the Friends of the Library was established. By October, the library at the Devon Building had 24,000 books in the collection and served 5,817 patrons. A microfilm reader and printer were donated to the library by Mrs. John McBride. By May of 1966, new building plans were in motion, and a millage campaign to raise $1.5 million was voted on. It was determined a more central location for a new library was needed. Mr. Green agreed to sell the 4-acre parcel of land, and in turn, an 8-acre site at Lone Pine and Telegraph Road was found to meet the requirement. Groundbreaking for the new library location was August 7, 1967. The township population is now approaching 35,000. It would take nearly 2 years to build the new structure of the interconnecting pavilions. The main public service areas would be on the ground floor level. The lower level featured a 200-seat auditorium called the Leslie Harcourt Green Room. On February 17, 1969, the new library opened with Mr. H.G. Dick Johnston as library director. Dedication Day was on March 23rd. The library now has 70,000 books. With the new facility, the library director and Friends of the Library implemented many new activities and programs for adults and children. An art rental program was established. Poetry readings and puppet shows were introduced. There were fashion shows and presentations by a gourmet cook from the Cordon Bleu in Paris. At this time, the library was a recipient of a Japanese garden from the local chapter of Ikebana International. The garden has been the delight of patrons over the years. By 1970, the library is open on Sundays, and they have a collection of 8 and 16 millimeter films for lending to patrons. Silent movies were very popular. 1974 marked the 10th anniversary of the library. An anniversary flag flew on the library's 40-foot flagpole. On March 23rd and 24th, a used book sale sponsored by the Friends of the Library took place. Norman Cousins, editor of the Saturday Review, was the featured speaker for the Sunday open house. As part of the 10th anniversary program, the Teen Art Craft Fair was established for 12 to 18-year-old artisans. More than 100 entered the non-judging event. The craft fair was held in a large tent adjacent to the library, complete with strolling musicians. In 1977, the Bloomfield Township Library was first in the state to employ a computer-automated circulation system. This year, the library had 110,000 circulating adult books. The library also provides a variety of daily newspapers, popular magazines, and 2,700 audio tapes for adults and children. By 1979, the home video revolution takes off, and the library now offers movies and educational programs on beta and VHS tapes at no cost to the patrons. Sue Sutton became deputy director in 1980. With the passage of time, board members changed, but the dedicated staff and Friends of the Library continued the mission. College Night was a new program, a joint effort with Andover and Lasser High School. This program helps students with college selections, researching scholarships, and securing financial aid. The library now has over 30,000 cardholders. In 1982, the library was the first public library in the state to offer online database searching. In 1984, Stephen Kirshner became the new director of the library. Celebration for the 20th anniversary of the library took place on Sunday, October 21st. To celebrate the anniversary, a large birthday cake graced the front lawn. One of Stephen's first tasks was introducing James Lafayette Dickey, who was one of America's most distinguished writers. The Southern gentleman delighted the audience with his humor and poetry readings. the Friends of the Library continued to sponsor fundraising events and programs. The Friends also presented the 3 hanging bears as a gift to the youth room. The library could not function without the many volunteers who continued their dedication to the library and its services. By 1985, the Bloomfield Township population was now over 42,000, and plans are underway to add 5 more pavilions to the library. In August of 1986, a $2.5 million bond issue passed, permitting the library building to expand from 31,000 square feet to 55,000 square feet. Another first for the library was receiving an IBM PC computer for patron use. In 1986, the library hours were expanded to 65 hours a week, and there are over 2,000 video cassettes in the lending library. Groundbreaking for the new 5-pavilion addition was held in the spring of 1987, and major construction continued for the next 8 months. During this time, the library stayed open 7 days a week. Karen Catullus Carter is now Deputy Director. The rededication of the library was in October 1988. There were now more meeting rooms, and the youth services area is larger. The audio and video collection also has more titles. The computer reference area was also expanded. In honor of the library's 25th anniversary in 1989, new gardens were established as a gift from the Friends of the Library. The Friends also gifted the Quest sculpture, which has graced the lobby nearly 30 years. In the 1990s, the library, with support from the Friends, entertained patrons with Jazz in July and lawn parties, which featured Jack Broganshaw's orchestra and other fine musicians. In 1990, Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul, came to the library as part of the Night of Thousand Stars to read stories to about 150 adults and children. She signed a lot of autographs. The Friends in 1994, the year of the 30th anniversary, hosted a vintage car show in the parking area. This event attracted hundreds of patrons and new visitors to the library. The library, keeping up with technology, now offers free internet services in 1995. Karen Catullus Carter became the director of the library in 1997, she being the 4th director of the library in its 30 years of service. This same year, the drive-up book return was made available for cardholders. Libraries across the country in the late 1990s were rapidly acquiring computers for patron use, and in the year of 2000, the computer reference section of the library had become a high-traffic area. Computers are also very popular in the youth services area. In 2002, voters approved a new millage increase for library operations. A library theme, Return to Books, proved successful, plus an expanded program calendar. There were author visits and more book discussion clubs. All of this created greater library usage. In 2002, 682,205 items were checked out. There were 62,733 cardholders. 9,630 people attended programs, and meeting room bookings exceeded 1,100. 11 new databases were added to the Adult Services collection. The library now has over 100 employees. Also, security monitors were installed and radio frequency identification tags were placed on all lending items in 2004. Something new, electronic books or e-books were added to the collection, creating a renewed interest in reading. In August of 2004, the library improvement bond proposition of $22.8 million passed, giving assurance the library could meet the goals of the community for the next 20 years. This year, Karen Catullas-Carter was instrumental in forming the Bloomfield Historical Society and offered the services of the library for monthly meeting rooms. On July 19, 2005, the library broke ground for another expansion and renovation project. The construction will take 3 years to add 6 new pavilions, all at ground level. No interruptions to the library operations are expected during the construction period. During the year, many community groups made use of the various conference rooms. Study room bookings this year reached 6,380, and for the first time, websites visits are over 1 million. In 2006 and 2007, renovations and construction continued. In 2007, volunteers worked on the digitizing of the historic pages of the Birmingham Eccentric newspaper dating from 1882 to 1902. With great anticipation, 2008 finally came. The 3-year improvement project of adding 6 new pavilions to the library was now completed. In April, the opening of the new library and circulation area took place. On August 19th, there was an open house to celebrate the beautiful new youth services area. Karen and staff were well prepared to entertain the many children, parents, and grandparents who attended this gala event. There was a drawing to pick a person who was quite surprised to later participate in the ribbon-cutting ceremony. There were some very talented local high school musicians who performed throughout the afternoon celebration. The children and parents loved gathering in the alcove reading rooms. The library gardens were still in full bloom on October 11, 2008, when there was another grand event, the rededication of the library. Hundreds of community residents and township officials toured the complete complex. They saw the many offerings in the adult services area. For many, they were truly amazed to have a world-class children's center in their library. Residents enjoyed the dining experience as well. There were trumpeters who, with their fanfare, led guests to the ribbon-cutting ceremony in the new community room. Virginia Lee Smith was one of several speakers, followed by an author and futurist, David Pierce Snyder, who presented a window into the future of libraries and everyday living experiences. This year of 2008 became a new era of expanded library services, with that constant goal of staying abreast of the technological boom. The collection size is now 344,288 items, and we have 43,439 cardholders. At this time, the newly renovated lower-level meeting rooms were now open. In 2009, we have a vibrant youth services area and welcome the many parents and children who use this high traffic area. Also developing in the adult services area was a business and investment section of computers. The local history collection also becomes a great reference for patrons and the local historical society members. Many Bloomfield Township archives are in the collection. Visitors to the library had to be impressed with the floral gardens, ornamental trees, and terraces around the exterior of the building. Thanks to the Friends of the Library and private donations, patrons enjoyed the beauty and a relaxed feeling. You would most certainly feel welcome when entering the lobby of the library and coming to the welcome desk reception area. Well over 400,000 visitors came to the library in 2010, plus 15,000 or more attended special programs. The first e-newsletter was created in 2011 to reach patrons, community organizations, and township residents, providing them with information on library services, and hopefully this effort would increase program participation. On October 21st, 2011, the Motor City Beat concert was held in the community room. Dancing was an added feature. In 2012, the annual report in March indicates library revenues continued to shrink. Since 2008, the library had lost 20% of its revenue. Approximately $1.2 million was lost in revenue for collections, services, and other operating costs. But on a positive note, 2012 was a record year for the youth services area. For more than 40 years, the Children's Summer Reading Program had been a major project of the library. In 2012, over 1,000 children were in the Dream Big Read Summer Reading Program. Children like reading ebooks, and the library now has 24,998 ebooks in the adult and children's collection. Karen Catullus Carter in February of 2013 announced her plans for retirement. She has served for 26 years and guided the library through several building and renovation programs. Spring and early summer rains brought about challenges to the library, flooding the lower level with 6 inches of water. In June of 2013, Carol Mueller was selected by the Library Board of Trustees to become the library's 5th director. The Friends of the Library since 1996 has now given $1,157,000 to the library. In 2014, the Library Board decided to close the library on summer Sundays due to an economic downturn. This did not dampen spirits and support as the library celebrates its 50th year of service to the community. With the theme, Celebrating the Past, Embracing the Future. The anniversary celebration was kicked off with Swinging 60s Style, Feeling Groovy at the library. This was a family-friendly, fun event with face paintings, a photo booth, slogan buttons, karaoke, and dancing lessons. There was also a Beatles tribute band. On October 18th, the library hosted another anniversary celebration called A Night at the Library, a wonderful event with delicious food, music, and a distinguished crowd of library supporters. In November of 2014, a millage proposal passed to restore and supplement the library millage. Also, a major project was underway of retagging all 330,000 lending items with a new RFID self-check and security system. New security gates and self-checking machines were installed. In 2015, the library was open on Sundays throughout the year. The youth studies alcoves were refurbished with funds provided from the 50th anniversary celebration. The community room was upgraded with an elegant wood screen to hide the chair storage. A new AV and video projection system was installed. New computer classes were offered on internet security and Google Docs. The 30-minute book club established a new book club. A new adult sensory storytime program is offered aimed at adults and teens with special needs. In 2016, a new online resource called Hoopla offered streaming movies, TV shows, music, e-books, e-comic books, and e-audiobooks. In January of 2017, a community-wide photo contest with the theme Capture the Joy of Reading was introduced. By April, 83 photos were in the collection. Children, teenagers, and adults were judged by celebrity judges, with many winners. This year, the librarians provided research support for students creating projects for the Bloomfield Hills School Science Fair. Due to the efforts and vision of Virginia Lee Smith, the library unveiled a large collection of historic photographs depicting the early days of the Bloomfield Township Library. In August 2017, the library passed out 1,200 pairs of special viewing glasses to patrons who wanted to safely see the eclipse of the sun. In 2018, the Writers Rendezvous Group, who have been meeting at the library for over 20 years, celebrated the publication of their first book called Writers Rendezvous Anthology 2017. This year, the Friends added to the Youth Service Department a technology station. The library set a record, presenting 709 programs with 17,906 people attending. On September 8th, a readathon was an all-day event which featured reading the book, A Wrinkle in Time Aloud, all day long. On October 13th, 2018, an after-hours event, International Night at the Library, was created to celebrate international cuisine with live music, dance, and costumes. Funds collected by the Friends of the Library from this event went to strengthen the library's world language collections.
For over 50 years, the Bloomfield Township community has enjoyed wonderful library services. It wasn't always so. In the early 1960s, a group of dedicated residents worked very hard to inform other residents of the need and value for a public library in the community. They were successful, and the rest is history, as they say. Soon after, the first library board was formed, and with their dedication, vision, and leadership, the first Bloomfield Township Public Library was established. It was in a rented office building with a small space, small staff, and small collection. Today, Bloomfield Township Public Library is that and so much more. We have a very large collection, lots of programs, wonderful spaces for our guests to enjoy. The Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees, past and present, have had great stewardship and leadership and vision to keep the library what it is today, the place to discover. Our very generous friends have donated over $1 million to this library for its special touches, its art and gardens, programs, and special additions to the collections. And of course, the heart and soul of the library is library staff, who provide great service and exceptional library experience to everyone who visits the library. Thank you, Bloomfield Township, for your support of this amazing library that champions the power of words to spark discovery and imagination.